Massive news, Titans fans. Rookie wide receiver Elic Ayomanor has been announced as a starter for Week 1. This is a huge development for the Tennessee Titans, and I'm going to break it down on today's edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, more dedication, more attention to detail, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Stay tuned later in the episode for this week's Moving the Game Forward. On today's show, we're going to go over a massive news drop from the Tennessee Titans. We got our first official depth chart of the season heading into Week 1 against the Denver Broncos, and we got some big things to discuss. Number 1, Chim Dike is your top returner, and it's not a game. Also, Cedric Gray wins the linebacker 2 job, but we got to start with the biggest news. Elic Ayomanor winning a starting wide receiver spot for the Titans. This is huge. We'll discuss. Before we do, thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Speaking of every day, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. If you aren't an everydayer, now is the perfect time to be one. We're going to have crossover Thursday tomorrow. I'm going to have my Football Friday game preview for you guys. I'm going to be going live immediately after the game ends. You're not going to beat all of the Tennessee Titans content that I'm putting out all season long for free. So again, make sure you get subscribed, and stay locked in with the Locked On Titans podcast. With that being said, though, the biggest news of the day, rookie wide receiver Elic Ayomanor has beat out Van Jefferson for the starting X wide receiver spot. And guys, I have been talking about this potential since Ayo was drafted. He is the only guy on the roster that combines the size, the speed that the Titans don't necessarily have with the long-term potential. Look, Van Jefferson at 6'1", 6'2", 200-some pounds has great speed as well. But Van Jefferson is just another guy in the NFL. He's just another depth wide receiver. He's not somebody who's going to be with the Titans long-term. He's not going to be someone who changes this franchise, which is what we want. Elic Ayomanor at 6'1", 6'2", 215 pounds, being a rookie who's already ascended to a starting role, that is someone who has the ability to flip this franchise and be someone that can support Cam Ward. I think at the end of the day, what Tennessee Titans fans are hoping for is some more star players. We need some more star players. I'm tired of the Nick Westbrook-Akines getting all the shine. Why can't we have another A.J. Brown? Yes, the NWIs of the world, the Bryce Olivers are such a good story. And I think Titans fans, because we haven't had a lot of superstars throughout the Tennessee Titans history, or at least not as many as a lot of other teams, and especially at key positions like quarterback and wide receiver. Titans have had plenty on the O-line, the D-line, and running back, but where's all the other stuff? You know what I mean? The idea that Elic Ayomanor could turn into, a bona fide star for the Titans is what makes everybody so excited about him. And look, we still don't know that that's going to take place. I still think that, he's a rookie wide receiver. He's going to come along a little bit slowly. But the fact that Ayo was able to beat out Van Jefferson already, and look, again, I'm not sitting here saying that Van Jefferson is some world beater who's going to be impossible to beat out. But teams don't just elevate rookies to be starters right away, especially a late 4th round rookie. Like, they took Chim Dike over Ayo. So let's not pretend like this is a 1st or a 2nd round receiver who was immediately going to be a starter right away. That was not guaranteed. So the fact that Ayo was able to perform in the preseason, show his explosiveness, show his size, show the route running ability, show a great connection with Cam Ward. That is something that you should be excited about. Titans fans should be overjoyed. They should be over the moon right now that Ayo, a late fourth-round rookie receiver, was able to climb the depth chart during training camp in the preseason and become a starter week 1. Now, obviously, the Tennessee Titans don't have a great wide receiver group, and that's going to make it more possible for a mid-round rookie, a day 2 rookie, to climb that ladder, of course. But look around the NFL right now. Look at teams that have bad wide receiver groups, and you go find the fourth-round wide receiver that's immediately the starter week 1. It's not going to be very often. It's not impossible. It's not never going to happen, but it's not going to be very often that a guy drafted as late as Ayo is elevated to a starter, whether that be on a team with a bad wide receiver group or a team with a good one. So again, no matter how you want to slice it, no matter what you want to say, this should be an incredibly exciting, incredibly optimistic development. Now, again, is it a complete total shocker? No, we talked about how the skill set of Ayomanor makes him somebody who is unique to the Tennessee Titans and can play a specific role in the offense. They don't have a lot of people that can do it. So, of course, that gives Ayomanor a better chance. But again, we are talking about a late fourth-round rookie becoming a day 1 starter. That's massive. That just doesn't happen. And we should all be so hyped for that. So don't let anybody kill your excitement. This is one thing that everybody says I'm negative. There's nothing to be negative about here. Yeah, the Titans wide receiver group isn't great, but I have so much faith in Ayo. Watching him destroy Travis Hunter in college still sticks out of my mind. This is a guy who, if he puts it all together, I think he's got, I would say, let me say this. Let me not get crazy. Let me not get crazy here. Let me try not to get crazy. But to me, Ayo can be Drake London. I think Elic Ayomanor could be just as good as Drake London. He could be a top 15 wide receiver in the league if everything hits. His size, his speed, his route running ability, his contested to catch ability, his ability to block, his lust for physicality. Let's call it love, because I don't think it's fake or temporary, okay? Or driven solely out of passion. Either way, I think he could be that good. Now, I also think that Elic Ayomanor could be a Michael Pittman type. And if the Titans got a Michael Pittman type who's a top 40, top 45 receiver in the NFL, if the Titans could have Ayo be a Michael Pittman type, that would still be absolutely nuts. And see the vision, folks. Walk with me. Walk with me. Ayo is your big physical X receiver. Calvin Ridley is your aging slot receiver. And then the Titans go out in 2027 and get a first-round receiver like a Ryan Williams, a Jeremiah Smith. I know I'm down the line, but I'm just saying, if Ayo can turn into a bona fide, solid starting receiver, which I think he's on his way to doing, just absolutely massive for the Tennessee Titans. Now, some other things on the offensive side of the ball that I want to point to here. Julius Chestnut is the number 2 running back after Tony Pollard. So Kal-El Mullings, the rookie who switched to number 31, by the way, another piece of news, will be the 3rd string. That makes the most sense. I think they have more faith in Chestnut to carry the football than Mullings early on. Also, worth noting here, Jackson Slater listed as the backup center. Very, very interesting right there. Not listed as a backup guard. And then I do got to mention here, Gunnar Helm is listed as tight end 2. He is not tight end 1. And I had some people say, hey, I thought you said Gunnar Helm would be tight end 1. And I'm saying I was early, not wrong. Gunnar is going to be the tight end that has the most snaps this season. I don't care what you got to say. I like Chig. I think Chig can be an explosive player, but nothing can shake me off of that from what we've seen in the preseason, what we've heard about Helm. Helm will take the most snaps at tight end this year. I fully believe it, all health included. So, yeah, he's not tight end 1 on the depth chart, but let's not play games here. We know which tight end is going to be the best tight end for the Titans this year. And, well, maybe it is up for debate, but I'm going with Gunnar Helm. So, that's what I have to say on the offensive side of the ball. Also, worth noting, J.C. Latham back at practice, good to go for week 1. That was an injury that we were monitoring. He's good to go. No worries there. Other than that, offense is healthy, ready to roll. Denver on the way. Remember, guys, crossover Thursday is tomorrow. I'm going to be talking with my guy Sayer from Locked On Broncos. 2 straight days basically game preview to get you ready for week 1. But now, let's talk about the defense. Today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda's moving the game forward. It's brought to you by those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it, because these moments do more than win. They push what's possible. They remind us to go that extra yard, shift into that extra gear, keep the game moving forward. Look, for the Titans this year, they absolutely need to get the game moving forward. The Titans need to create that positive momentum so that they can keep driving their team forward, and eventually the Titans might be able to drive the team to greatness. That's what keeps fans and players alike moving forward, is they're always chasing that next great moment. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. It's Mazda. Move and be moved. Today's episode is also brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. You need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Their part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on the job, where every detail matters. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. So I'll tell you, I wanted to do reasons for optimism today. We were going to look into some potential NFL awards predictions, and, Cam Ward's going to win Rookie of the Year and all that stuff. And quite frankly, there's just too much news. There's too much to discuss. The Titans released their depth chart. They added a new linebacker. And I wanted to take a moment and say that as of Tuesday, this is my 6-year anniversary with Locked On. I'm going into my 7th season, and I just want to tell you guys how thankful I am that you're rocking with me here on Locked On Titans. I get to live my dream every single day, and all I hope that I can do is give the same passion and energy and dedication that you would give if you were doing this show, because at the end of the day, I'm just like you guys. I'm just a big fan who went pro. But with that being said, again, thanks again. Shout out everybody at Locked On. Happy anniversary to me at the end of the day. But with that being said, let's talk about defense, because the biggest development on the defensive side of the ball, and something that we have seen coming for quite some time now, is Cedric Gray starting at inside linebacker. Now, I will admit defeat on this one. I will gladly take my L here, all right? I thought James Williams was going to win that job. I thought James Williams had a big advantage, and quite frankly, James Williams did have a big advantage. James Williams was healthy during his entire rookie season and played more than Cedric Gray. James Williams was established as the starting linebacker early on in the training camp process. Cedric Gray not only won the linebacker job, he took it away from James Williams. No doubt about that. He took it away. James Williams had every advantage to win that job, and I thought for certain that he would find a way to win that job. But Cedric Gray's explosiveness downhill in the run game, his ability as a blitzer, he found a way to do it. He found a way to take the spot away even when James Williams had the advantage. And remember, we talked about the linebacker 2 job, and I could say I think James Williams is going to win it. You could say you think Cedric Gray is going to win it. We could all... But what really, really matters for the Titans is that one of those linebackers is good. They need one of those linebackers to be good. That's what really matters. It's not about, this guy beating out this guy. Heck, I'll beat my brother in golf, doesn't mean I didn't shoot a 50. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it all works. It's not about who wins. It's about the winner being worth it. Okay? And I think that Cedric Gray has shown that he can do some things. Now, I'm still a little bit worried about Cedric Gray in coverage. I want to make sure that he's comfortable because it felt like James Williams, with that safety experience, might be a little more comfortable in coverage, even though he's a little bit of a bigger guy. But if Cedric Gray is going to be as explosive downhill and that good as a blitzer and that physical and that quick to read his keys, like the mental part of the game, Cedric Gray has been a linebacker for much longer than James Williams has. So it could be a situation where Cedric Gray and James Williams physically are pretty similar, but Cedric Gray is just dominating with the mental aspects, reading his keys, knowing where to be, reading the offensive route combinations, understanding what's coming. I think I can point to, at the time, I didn't really freak out about it, but in the very first preseason game, I've been going back through the tape, watching Femi a little bit over the last few days, and on one of the big plays in the Tampa Bay game, the Titans did a trap coverage, okay, where they blitz a cornerback and they drop back into coverage, but the defensive end, instead of dropping, and it was Femi, instead of dropping into the flat, the defensive end actually drops into a hook curl over the middle of the field. And the linebacker, which was James Williams, has to go over and replace the blitzing slot cornerback. And what you can do is, if the quarterback doesn't notice it, as James Williams slides over to replace the cornerback, if there's a slant or an in-breaking route coming, well, the quarterback is going to throw hot, right? That's what you do. You throw at the blitz because that's where the space has been vacated. The quarterback did that, and Williams was super late. It should have been an interception and maybe a pick six. The Titans called a perfect coverage trap play to get an interception, and Williams was late. Not only was he able to, or not only did he not get the interception, double negative, my English professors are rolling in their grave, but not only was he not able to get the interception, he didn't even get a pass breakup, and it was a completion. And when you call a specific trap play, and it sets up perfectly, and your player just doesn't execute, I could see how Denard Wilson could be saying mentally, James Williams is just not quite quick enough to where we need to be right now, because that needed to be an interception. It was easy money. Great play call by Denard Wilson. It was really cool. Look, guys, I still learn all the time. I am not, it's not like I figured out football and I have nothing to learn ever. I'm learning a ton all the time from people smarter than me about the game. And seeing that coverage play out, and then I sent the play to somebody who I go to as a resource, and they're like, yeah, this is a trap coverage. And like seeing it all happen, I'm like, whoa. So cool to learn about the game like that, and hopefully you guys learn along with me here on the show and on the Tic Tac Titans YouTube. But Cedric Gray deserves the win. He was not the favorite early on, and he found a way to fight all the way back. Now, some other things that stand out to me on the defensive side of the ball is, Kevin Winston and Quandre Diggs are both ahead of Mike Brown. That's not really a shock or anything like that, but with Winston not being in practices for a few weeks, and then Quandre Diggs being brand new, you didn't really know how that would shake out. But to be honest with you, other than, Cedric Gray winning linebacker 2, I don't really see anything on defense that, really stands out to me. It's pretty much exactly what you would think. Now, I do want to say this on the defensive side of the ball. The Titans added a linebacker on Tuesday, and it's a veteran linebacker in Kazir White, okay? White played for the Arizona Cardinals last year, and man, he had a productive season. 17 games. 137 tackles. Yeah, 137 tackles. 2.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 3 passes defended, 1 interception. This is one of the most productive veteran linebackers in the NFL. Now look, is Kazir White going to be a starting linebacker for the Titans? No. He's going to be a depth linebacker. Him and James Williams are going to be, fighting for those linebacker 3 duties. But Kazir White is a guy who super solid average starting linebacker in the NFL if they need to be. Because we talked about this. I just said it. It's not about who wins the linebacker battle. It's, are either of them good? And Cedric Gray won, But if Cedric Gray in year 2 isn't performing well enough, then the Titans are going to go to a guy like Kazir White. And what I like about White the most is he is a great blitzer. He is a phenomenal blitzer. Look at his last 4 seasons. 2.5 sacks, 2 sacks, 1.5 sacks, 1 sack with the Chargers. Like in the last 4 years, what? Quick math, 2 plus 2.5 is 4.5, plus 1.5 is 6, plus 1, 7 sacks in 4 years for a linebacker. Again, we're not talking about a pass rusher or something like that. You know what I mean? We're talking about a linebacker. That's good blitzability right there. And let me also say something about Kazir White that I think really, really matters for the Tennessee Titans. And I talked to my guy Alex Clancy from Locked On Cardinals, and I saw a clip. I think my guy Zach Lyons from F Words retweeted it. But it was the Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator saying he named his son after Kazir White because of how great of a man that he is in the locker room. And then my guy, like I said, Alex Clancy, my dog from Locked On Cardinals, first thing he said to me when he texted me when he saw it was, he's going to fire up the locker room. So not only are the Titans getting a super, super solid veteran player at linebacker where they needed a 4th guy who can blitz and fits in their scheme, but they're getting somebody who is really a culture guy in the locker room. Super accountable, honest, willing to grill himself if he makes mistakes. And I think having a guy like that in the linebacker room with young guys like Cedric Gray and James Williams, it will teach them more accountability. It will teach them more humility. It will teach them. I am the type of person personally, I know it may not seem that way, but I am very willing to criticize myself, especially with sports and different things that we're doing. Like, I'm willing to look at it and say, hey, I did not do a great job, especially in cooking. I'm going to be the first person to tell you this meal sucks. I messed up. This isn't good enough. Having people around who are willing to criticize themselves and take that accountability and be a thumb pointer, not a finger pointer, it's infectious. You can't avoid being like that if everyone around you is being like that. That's how accountability is policed by the locker room, not the coaches. It's the other players around you taking accountability that makes you feel embarrassed if you don't. That is culture. That's what you need. And Kazir White is a guy like that. Now, White was added to the practice squad, and a lot of people are like, oh, does this mean, James Williams is going to be cut? Or does this mean he's starting? Or, they added Kazir White to the practice squad. And this is a good moment to talk about cap logistics and cap gymnastics. What the Titans are doing is, if you're a veteran player and you're on a roster week 1, your salary is guaranteed for the season. If you're a veteran and you're on a practice squad and you get elevated on game day and then you get signed to the active roster in week 3, now your salary isn't fully guaranteed for the season and the team can cut you without losing that cap space. So Kazir White will be on the Titans 53-man roster. It may take this is what I was talking about with Corey Levin and James Prochet, that it might be like that with them as well. You know what I mean? But this is cap gymnastics. Now, here's what I'll say. I was wrong about James Prochet being back on the roster in a couple of weeks because the Titans are not kidding about Chim Dike being their starting returner. Today's episode is brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season is right around the corner, and you can feel the buzz. Fantasy football season is here. Everyone's researching, drafting, building their championship squads. If you haven't joined a league yet, now's the time, and it's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, I am going to be playing fantasy football on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran creating their millionth league. So let me lay this out for you guys. We are going to be doing a Locked On Titans Fantasy Football League. There are some things going behind the scenes that have delayed when I can roll that out to you guys and get everybody signed up and all of that. I'm hoping that I might be able to roll that out on Friday's show, the game preview. If not, I'll do a special bonus episode to roll that out to you guys. But got some great stuff coming down the line, and it will include playing some awesome fantasy football on Yahoo Fantasy. Season kicks off on September the 4th. So now is the time to start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football. You could do a guillotine league, which is what we're going to be doing, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week. You want to play with your friends? They have a new Draft with Friends mode. You want to play the classics? Join a head-to-head private league. You got no crew to play with? Just join a public league. It's the easiest way to play. The NFL season kicks off September the 4th, so don't wait. Start your league now. Draft now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Look, the NFL season is here, as I just said, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Again, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel. Number one, the app is so visually stunning. It looks so incredible. It's easy to use, easy to navigate, and it's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. I mean, it makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or you're just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. And I got to tell you, one thing I like to do is if I need a big game out of somebody on my fantasy team, I'll bet their unders. I can't help it. I got to hedge my bets. But if you are ready to play, and you should be, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Titans fans, let's cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We talked about Elic Ayomanor as the starting wide receiver. We talked about Cedric Gray as the starting linebacker and adding Kazir White. Now we got to talk about the special teams, folks, because I thought that the Titans were just playing roster games and that James Prochet would be elevated to the active roster to be the punt returner. And that after a couple of weeks, James Prochet would be the Titans punt returner and added to the active roster. But I think I was wrong, because Bones Fossil, the Titans special teams coordinator, came out today and so a couple of weeks ago, I don't want to call him a liar, but he lied. He's lying, and he can do whatever he wants, coach speak it however he wants, but Bones Fossil just simply lied to everybody. A couple of weeks ago, Bones Fossil said Chim Dike was not ready to be the Titans' full-time returner. And a lot of people in the media, including me, who watch the pressers and listen to every single quote and do this for work, looked at that and said, oh, well, that means James Prochet is going to make the roster. James Prochet is going to be the starting kick returner, because he literally just said that the only other guy who could possibly take that role isn't ready. Well, Bones Fossil was asked about it again on Tuesday, and he said that basically he said he wasn't lying. He wanted Chim Dike to earn it. So if you're Bones Fossil and you heard me say he's a liar, he would say, I didn't lie. I said he wasn't ready for it. I was telling the truth. And over the last couple of weeks, he's earned it. Now, I don't know how you could earn it with the minimal amount of reps that Chim Dike could have gotten since Bones Fossil said that comment. But either way, nonetheless, what I think it was nonsense all along. I think that it was a coach being like, oh, we're going to make the rookie earn it. We're not going to let the rookie have it early on. We're going to blah, 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 and say that he's not ready for it, and blah, 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 all the while knowing that they were never going to keep Prochet on the roster and keep 7 wide receivers, and they were going with Chim Dike all along as their returner. So I don't buy the coach speak story. But either way, this is great news for the Tennessee Titans. It's great news, because Chim Dike was drafted in part because he could be a good returner. He was a returner in college. He had some good returns. Like, that is value that as a 6'1" speed receiver that can play in the slot, that can play Z, and that can also be your starting returner. That sort of value, like, again, we go back to, I thought Elic Ayomanor would always end up being a better wide receiver than Chim Dike. But Elic can't return, and the Titans desperately need a returner. They have for years. So if Chim Dike is truly able to be the Titans' returner of the future, which sounds funny to say, but whatever, while also being a constant depth wide receiver, Chim Dike, I hope, by next year, is Calvin Ridley's direct backup as the Z. Chim Dike could be maybe the starter at slot. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think the Titans need to still upgrade at wide receiver, and with Ayo at X and Ridley at Z, I don't know if the Titans do add a big upgrade at wide receiver, like, let's say they got a Zachariah Branch or whatever out of Georgia and let him run in the slot. I don't know that he's a pure slot receiver or anything like that, but just an example. If the Titans do that, I just think that Chim Dike's best role, you guys play baseball and you guys follow baseball, a utility infielder. I think that Chim Dike should be a utility wide receiver. No, he's not a pure starter. He's not a bona fide starter. Now, if he turns into that, then great. But I don't know that I see that right now. I think Dike can be that utility wide receiver while also being the Titans' starting punt returner and kickoff returner. And I think that could be a great role for Chim Dike going forward. And I think a lot of you guys will hear that and be like, oh, no, I want him to. Yes, I'd love Chim Dike to turn into Deshaun Jackson. Awesome. But let's be realistic here. If Dike is the starting returner and the utility wide receiver that's the number 4 wide receiver that can fill in at multiple different spots, that's still a massive help to the Titans roster. Now, do want to mention the other kick returner, which I think would have been Tajay Spears had he been healthy, is Bryce Oliver. And Bryce Oliver is another guy who, excellent role player for the Titans if he's able to do that successfully. And I do find it interesting that both Bryce Oliver and Chim Dike are both kind of bigger guys. I mean, they're not huge. They're not Mike Evans and Megatron, you know what I mean? But they're not small guys either. They're not a, Zay Flowers, Xavier Restrepo, Kyle Phillips, small returner type guy. You know what I mean? They're both over 6 foot. So I find that interesting. The Titans want bigger, more physical guys doing kickoff return. But Bryce Oliver is another good example. Is Bryce Oliver going to get any Tennessee Titans fans hype like Elic Ayomanor in the opening segment? No. But the Titans as a professional football team need a guy who can be a great gunner on coverage teams, who can run on kickoff return and catch the ball and can play some depth wide receiver as well. That sort of special teams value as a gunner and a coverage guy and a kickoff return guy, and then the utility that he can provide as an X or a Z on offense, that sort of stuff is big. That's important. So with that being said, though, that's my thoughts on the Titans' first depth chart. Again, tomorrow we're going to have crossover Thursday with my guy Sayer from Locked On Broncos, go behind enemy lines. I'm going to have my preview episode on Friday. I'm going to be going live after the game. Last thing I want to say is, I know I mentioned it earlier, but thank you all so much again for listening to the show, getting subscribed, liking, even my haters. Thank you. Thank you. I say this stuff all the time, and I know it sounds like I'm being braggadocious, but I really want to inspire people who may not feel like they're where they need to be. I was homeless at 16. I'm a college dropout. I slept on a mattress on a ground in my brother's spare bedroom for most of my 20s. I had $20 in my pocket when I started doing this show and I got the opportunity. Like, I was 28 years old. I'd given up on my dream to ever talk about sports for a living. It was over. I thought. You just never know, folks. Like, you just never know. Keep grinding. Keep pushing. Don't give up your dream. Never give up at any time. Don't let it die. Don't forget your dinosaur, as a Step Brothers reference there for you guys. But seriously, thank you all so much. So grateful every single day for all of you guys tuning in and making this real. Let's rock, boys. The season's right here. Tighten up. That's going to do it for me today, folks. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.